Alexandra, let's talk about Cree Code Talker and really the inspiration behind the film.
This is a bit of a family and community story. My mom and her family are from Girard, Alberta, and it had been sort of a local legend that had been told around the community that there was a few men who were from the area who participated in a code talking program, a top secret code talking program. And one of my family members, Nora Chapdelaine, kept saying, "Alex, you need to make a film. You need to make a film." And I looked into it a little bit further, and through like Charles Tompkins' family, we were able to find the Smithsonian recording that's actually used in the film. And it's this great tape of Charles being interviewed by a Smithsonian historian in 2003, just before he passed away. And so that was sort of the impetus to really make this film. To me, the film is a poem to the community and to my mom's home and to the area that's just so incredibly beautiful.
Why is it important for Indigenous storytellers to make films?
I think it's so important for Indigenous people to make films because for a long time our stories haven't been told. They've also been told from not our perspective or our lens, and I think we bring something unique when we tell our own stories. The Indigenous culture is an oral tradition, so we're natural storytellers, and I think that there is a thirst and a hunger in our communities to hear our own stories told by our own people because it brings such an interesting and unique perspective. Dreamspeakers is an amazing film festival that brings together artists and filmmakers from all over and has really been supporting Indigenous filmmakers for 15 plus years now. And I think it's the best place to see up and coming work. It's the best place to see, work that's been done by our older generation, and it's just a fantastic gathering.
We're just talking off air about a future project you got going on. We can't release the details yet, but let's go back and talk about how you got introduced into directing.
I think why I have such a passion for Dreamspeakers is they were one of the first organizations to give me my start in filmmaking and producing. And I was on a team with the old executive director, Murray Jurak, and we traveled across Alberta and we taught filmmaking to junior high students in Métis communities.
Oh, okay.
And that was an incredible experience. I will never forget it. And, it really inspired me to want to tell these stories. And, that was over 10 years ago. And I can see such a difference in like the filmmaking community. We've made leaps and bounds. There are so many young people who are telling our stories and picking up cameras and making YouTube videos. And I feel really passionate that the future is in our youth for this sort of stuff. And it's just going to keep growing. And there really is a thirst and a hunger by our communities and by non-Indigenous communities to finally hear our stories.
Alex Lazarowich, a Cree filmmaker, joining CFWE this afternoon. Alexandra, how does film allow Indigenous storytellers to further explore and express their identity?
For me, personally, I think filmmaking has allowed me to get in touch with some of our elder stories, but also really get in touch with the youth. And I think that it's really important, and I think a part of why Cowboy and I made this film is because for me, in the media, in film and television, I never really saw that much positivity about our community. It's changing. It's definitely changing through programs like yours, through CBC, Aboriginal or Indigenous. Like things are moving towards that direction where we finally are hearing about positive stories in our community. And for me, I wanted to make a film honoring these elders, honoring these veterans, and for it to be happy and joyful so that younger kids could be proud of our language, be proud of being Native, be proud of being Cree, and really be inspired to like grasp and really hold on to our culture and know that we did a lot for this country and for Canada.
Tell us where your film has screened and what's been some of the feedback on it.
Oh, we've had a long run. We've screened all over North America. Imaginative last year, which was fantastic. We actually won the best Canadian doc at Imaginative, which was wonderful because it's a community of your peers. We recently just screened in Santa Fe at the Indian Market for the Smithsonian Cinema Showcase.
Wow.
And that was amazing because there was such a big turnout of people who came to see the film from all over the place. And mostly people were shocked because they had never heard the story. They had heard of the Navajo story, but they had never heard of the Canadian version.
Okay.
We've screened Calgary Film Festival, and we've just had such great feedback. I think what we continue to hear is that people just didn't know this. And now that they're aware of it, they can sort of make the steps to incorporate it into curriculum, to pass on the information to people who should know about this and that these guys should be recognized.
Alexandra, tell us why people should come out and see your film, Cree Code Talkers, next Friday during Dreamspeakers.
Our film plays as part of a suite of short films, and I think that's the best way to see a bunch of different filmmakers' films. And really support Indigenous arts and the Indigenous community. Lots of the films that are playing are local filmmakers, like Connor's film. He's from Edmonton. You know, I think what it does is it allows us to celebrate other artists, and it allows us to see different points of view, and also allows us to see other cultures, because our nations are so different and so unique, and we're not all the same. And we got to understand each other in order for us to work together as a community and really build upon reconciliation in our own communities, because I think a part of this film is a little bit about reconciliation. The film is about language, and in the 1940s, children were taken away and put in residential schools and were told not to speak their language.
Right.
And the Cree language was one of the things that helped win the war. And for those two things to happen at the same time, it really is a part of this conversation about reconciliation, of really, taking back what was ours and like digging deep and learning to like love our language and love our culture and learn it.
Alexandra, thanks for stopping in.
Thank you so much for having us. We hope to see you all at Dreamspeakers.